All right, quite a few stories to get into in this hour. This was just released, this headline. Conservatives fume over complete spending concession to Democrats. Conservatives blasting the 5-month fiscal 2017 spending deal written by Republicans and Democrats as nothing short of a cave-in by the GOP, despite its control of both the House, Senate, and White House. The deal, conservatives say, will make the fiscal 2018 spending process even more difficult. The $1 trillion bill, quote, does little more than kowtow to liberal Democrats and so-called moderate Republicans, said Jason Pye, policy director from the Conservative Freedom Works advocacy group. Republican leaders pointed to GOP wins in the bill, including a $15 billion increase in defense spending that did not require typical equal increase in domestic spending. Well, we have boosted our resources for our defense needs without corresponding increases in non-defense spending, as Democrats had insisted upon for years, said House Speaker Paul Ryan. The bill also included $1.5 billion for border security, although none of it can be used for a wall or to increase deportations of those who have already crossed the border. Despite those Republican gains, a GOP aide who spoke to conservative GOP lawmakers said most view the bill as a complete concession to Democrats, and that it's more or less what we've seen in the past. They're trying to make the decision to pass it with Democrats rather than Republicans. You look through the bill, this budget bill, and it is a complete disaster. It really is. Democrats claiming a huge victory for the arts, so they successfully blocked Trump's request to cut funding to the National Endowment for the Arts and Humanities. Instead, both agencies will see a funding increase of $2 million under the spending bill, bringing each budget to $150 million for fiscal year 2017. The EPA, 99% of the EPA is funded, as I think the EPA only got cut by $88 million. That's about it. But most of the EPA is completely funded. Planned Parenthood is funded. Just everything that the Democrats would really want, completely funded in that. I mean, this is not a Democrat. This is not a Republican plan. Politico did a story on this. The winners and losers of Trump's first budget battle. They say the defense hawks are a winner, Joe Manchin, Paul Ryan, and Mitch McConnell. Even Joe Biden. New York, New Jersey, and Florida, a pot of $61 million up for grabs under the bill to reimburse local law enforcement agencies. Goes to Florida because of Trump's trips to Florida. Under the loser category, Trump. The then president-elect asked GOP lawmakers to punt on funding the government last December so he could put his imprint on the federal budget. When he finally got into the debate, Congress largely ignored all of his requests, rebuffing his proposed $18 billion in cuts to domestic programs and giving him only half of the $30 billion increase in defense spending that he sought. There's also provisions where no construction of a wall can happen along the U.S.-Mexico border. During the election, Trump said that he would defund Planned Parenthood. Guess what? This funds Planned Parenthood. And all because Republicans didn't want to fight going forward. That's what all of this is really all about. Republicans don't want to fight. Trump sent out a tweet today, earlier this morning, calling for a government shutdown, but not yet. Trump called for a government shutdown at the end of September in order to kill the legislative filibuster in the Senate so he can pass more of his priorities. Well, the reason the plan negotiated between the Republicans and Democrats is we need 60 votes in the Senate. which are not there, Trump tweeted. We either elect more Republican senators in 2018 or change the rules now to 51%. Our country needs a good shutdown in September to fix the mess. Trump could shut down the government this week if he wanted to. I mean, this is the headline from the Washington Post. Democrats confident they can block Trump's agenda after spending bill win. I mean, really, the only thing that's good here is, okay, there's a little bit more money for the U.S.-Mexico border, but that can't be used to build a wall. It can be used for security, but that's about it. And even then, it can't be used to deport anybody. And it puts a little bit more money towards defense, which, yes, is a good thing, but it's not what Trump had asked for. It's not what Trump had wanted. And the president is saying, well, listen, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this. We're going to take the kick to the teeth on this one. I mean, this is a Democratic spending bill. There's nothing Republican. You have the House, you have the Senate. The more information that comes out about this, the worse this bill is. And you've got Republicans who want to vote on this. You've got Paul Ryan who's out saying this is a great spending bill. This is wonderful. This is what we need. And you have the president who is supposed to be a great deal maker, supposed to get all the great deals. We're going to win, 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 win. And now after criticism started yesterday, now the president gets on Twitter and says, well, just wait till September. Just wait till then we're really going to start getting stuff moving. Okay. The president could shut down the government tomorrow. Whenever they vote on this bill, whenever they vote on it, it goes to the president's desk. He could say, you know what? It's a really bad deal for America. Veto. He could do it. But he's not. He's going to cave in. He's going to cave in to the Democrats. He's going to cave in to the moderate Republicans. It's not the fighter that a lot of people voted for, is it? And where's Congress? Where are the real Republicans? Where are they standing up for this or standing up against this bill? I sent out a tweet earlier this morning that Congressman Arrington, in my opinion, this is a pretty important vote for him. He's in a bad situation. He's in a bad spot. You know why? He's a freshman congressman who's been given some pretty good committee assignments, hasn't he? And when that happens, which everyone wanted to happen, okay, that means normally leadership, they've got you. And then on quite a few things, you're going to have to go with leadership. But you know what? This is a bill where I think Congressman Arrington has got to stand up and say no. There are a few of you who may remember this. During the congressional primary, and I remembered this last night, during the congressional primary, and Jodey, if I'm wrong on this, let me know. And Carl Tepper, if you're out there listening, this is probably going to, jog your memory on this. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But during the congressional primary, at a debate at the Rock City Event Center, we had the District 19 Republicans on stage. And we asked them, if funding Planned Parenthood comes up, will you vote against it? Will you vote no matter what it's attached to? Will you vote against it? And one by one, every single District 19 candidate, Starr wavered on it a little bit when it was connected to Dyess Air Force Base and funding Dyess Air Force Base. He wavered on that a little bit. But everybody else, including Jodey Arrington, said he would not vote for anything that included funding for Planned Parenthood. And that was an early promise. And if I'm remembering it incorrectly, I'm sure I will find out from some people who were there. But at least 3 people who I talked to this morning went, yeah, no, that's what happened. Everybody said that they would not vote for any bill, any piece of legislation that included funding for Planned Parenthood. This spending bill includes money for Planned Parenthood. And I can almost guarantee you that most conservatives who ran for office across the country said, we will not vote to fund Planned Parenthood. The President of the United States, when he was campaigning, when Donald Trump was campaigning, when he was trying to come across as, no, guys, really, I am a conservative. He said, I will not vote to fund Planned Parenthood. And then he kind of went back on it a little bit, but then he went back and he said, I'm not going to vote for fund Planned Parenthood. He kind of went back and forth. But when it was him versus Hillary, I'm not going to fund Planned Parenthood. I think if Donald Trump this week were to veto this spending bill, I think a lot of Republicans would reward him. I think a lot of Republicans, I know there's a fear, and Republicans have a fear that they're going to be blamed, that they're going to lose a majority in the House, they're going to lose a majority in the Senate. If there's even a little bit of a government shutdown, then all hell's going to break loose for the Republicans. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you what will be worse for Republicans. If we keep having spending bills moving forward that look like this, if you don't pass a repeal and replace of Obamacare, which today they've lost even more Republicans on this health care repeal plan, if you don't get tax reform done, if you don't get health care done, if you keep spending money like Democrats do, then you are going to see all hell break loose from Republican voters. That is when you will be punished at the polls. You shut down the government because you're standing for principles. That's when you say, oh, okay, Republican voters will reward you. Just like they did a couple of years ago when Republicans first took back the Senate. Now, I know we go back to last week and there were some phone calls of people saying, Chad, and people probably remember this, when I was not in favor of shutting down the government last week. And that's true. For that 1 week, I wasn't. But we're not talking about a 1 week fix. We're not talking about a 2 week fix. We're talking about a budget process now going till September, and details that have come out of this budget deal that are terrible for this country. And it doesn't begin to fix what's wrong with this country. It doesn't begin to fix anything. The only thing that we have to go on is President Trump saying, hey, we'll wait till September to start really fixing things. No, you can do it right now. All you have to do is say, moderate Republicans, Democrats, screw you, veto. And Jodey Arrington, Congressman, you need to say no to this budget deal. It doesn't help out cotton farmers. It doesn't help out those who want you to defund Planned Parenthood. It doesn't help those who want to build a wall on the border. It's time for you to stand up and say no. We'll be right back. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO. All right, Chad Hasty Show, KFYO. A press release that was sent out yesterday. House Ag Committee Chairman Mike Conaway issued a following statement concerning the exclusion of critical help for cotton and dairy farmers from the omnibus appropriations bill. Quote, it's no secret that times are extremely difficult in farm and ranch country right now, with net farm income down 50% from where it stood just 4 years ago. It's also no secret the safety net for cotton and dairy is failing our producers. To its credit, the entire cotton industry came together on a plan to fix what is broken with respect to safety net for cotton farmers. It is thoroughly vetted, strongly supported, and entirely paid for. The dairy industry, too, has been working hard to restore a safety net for our nation's dairy farmers. Unfortunately, Senators Debbie Stabenow out of Michigan, Pat Leahy out of Vermont insisted on $800 million that was cobbled together at the last minute, unvetted, totally unpaid for. And when they did not get their way, they blocked critical relief for both cotton and dairy farmers. I'm extremely disappointed with recklessness and heartlessness for such an approach. For the sake of both America's cotton and dairy farmers, I hope that all lawmakers will come together on policy broadly supported by those who are designed to help, thoroughly vetted and fully paid for. Jodey, remind me again. Help me out here, okay? Who's in control of Congress right now? Which party is in control?
I'd heard it was the Republicans.
Okay.
I don't know.
Who's in control of the White House?
Well, theoretically, a Republican.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we can't help out cotton farmers. We can't help out dairy producers. We can't get any of this through.
Apparently not.
Yeah, let me tell you how much optimism I have for the Farm Bill helping out the people out here. We'll be right back. Back on the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk, 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO. All right. I've been talking about this budget deal that is being debated in Washington, D.C. And listen, for Republican leadership, it's not a debate. It's over. I mean, this is a done deal for Donald Trump. It's a done deal for everybody. It's a done deal. There are some of us, I think those of us in talk radio, and I think you've seen a few congressmen who have sprung up and gone, oh, wait a minute. This is not a good deal. I can't vote for this. And I understand that Republican lawmakers, a lot of Democrats love this bill because they win. I mean, there's nothing in this bill that's bad for Democrats. There's nothing in the bill that Democrats won't like. So they love it. They get a big win. And I think even Donald Trump knows that that he's handing the Democrats a win on this when he doesn't have to. But Republicans are scared about a government shutdown. Republicans are worried about a government shutdown. And I don't think they need to be. I don't think they need to be right now. I think what Republicans need to be worried about, and I keep seeing news tick by that Republicans want to vote on health care tomorrow, folks, by this afternoon. The latest health care bill might be dead. And I believe Congress goes on recess for a week again on Thursday. I believe that's when they go on recess, though the White House has apparently leaned on leadership and said, you don't go anywhere yet because we want to deal on health care. And right now it looks like they are bleeding Republicans again on health care. A lot of moderate Republicans, because there might be some people who have to pay a little bit more money for pre-existing conditions to be covered. If Republican lawmakers need to be worried about anything, they need to be worried about voters, Republican voters, who either stay home or they go shopping for somebody else in a primary. That's what they need to be worried about. And not because of a government shutdown, but because Congress isn't doing anything. The only thing Congress is doing is handing along a Democratic spending bill. Okay, yes, it includes a little bit more money, half of what Trump wanted for defense. Good. and to give some more money for the border. Great. 2 wins? And not even full wins, like half a win and part of a win. When you boil it down here locally, when you look at, for Congressman Arrington, who again is in a tough spot. He's in a very tough position. He really is. But when you look at Conaway, who has already said that in the budget, there's not money for cotton farmers, dairy producers. They're not being helped out by this. When you have money that is fully funding Planned Parenthood, when the EPA, instead of, getting whacked a little bit, 99% of the EPA is funded. When you look at this, and I think it would be a bold statement, a bold vote for Jodey Arrington to come out and say, you know what? I just can't do it. I can't vote for this. This is a Democratic plan. We've got to do better. Republicans have to do better. We're in control of the House. We're in control of the Senate. We are in control of the White House. We have got to do better. I can't put my name on that bill. I can't put my name on that budget. And you know what? I think there will be a lot of Republicans around here who would applaud Jodey Arrington for that. One of the things that not only Arrington, but just about everybody who ran for Congress, everyone who's a freshman in Congress, everything they ran on was, we've been doing the exact same thing for the exact, for this many years. And where's it gotten us? It's gotten us to this place. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so now it's time to show we're not going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. For those who said we're sick and tired of doing the same thing over again and not having results, it's time to put a stop to it. It's time to say, no, I can't vote on that. I can't put my name on that bill. And I think it would buy a lot of goodwill from a lot of voters out here in West Texas. I think for a lot of Republicans, it would buy some goodwill. Republican voters would reward that person, and they would say, thank you for standing up. Thank you for saying no. I haven't heard from or gotten an email from or any Republican at all that says this is a good spending bill. The only ones who is saying that is Paul Ryan. And you look at Paul Ryan, and I think even Paul Ryan is kind of going, oh, man, I'm full of crap on this one. All right, but I really need to sell it. Hey, we have some more border funding, and we're going to wait till the summer to get into a debate over a wall. Woo! I don't think any Republican who is out there today, who is going to be out on TV today, who is going to sell this plan, I don't think any of them believe in it. I think they all know it's horrible. I think they all know it's not what they campaigned on. And we need people to start standing up and saying no. And guess what? I know I'm going to get some emails from Trump supporters. I know. From some of the Trumpers, from day one Trumpers, they can't stand it whenever I critique Donald Trump. But Donald Trump needs a little critiquing today. Donald Trump is supposed to be the master of all great deals. Where is it? Where's the great deal? Instead of, we're going to threaten a shutdown later. And instead, Donald Trump was out on, Sunday morning TV saying it's a great deal. It's wonderful. This is a great plan. It's a beautiful plan. It's not. We'll be right back. All right, Chad Hasty Show, News Talk, 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO. Got a little fired up in this hour. It happens, Jodey. I just think there are a lot of voters who are sitting around going, okay, when are we gonna when are we gonna win? When are we gonna see the winning happen? Besides Neil Gorsuch, and again, that was huge. But I even get the feeling from text messages that have come in and tweets and emails, we can only hang the hat on that for so long. Hey, we got Gorsuch and everything else is the same as under Obama. And need to see some wins. That's it. The Washington Post, 8 ways Trump got rolled in his first budget. And they go through, and that it's just same old, same old. There are explicit restrictions to block the border wall. The final agreement goes further, putting strict limitations on how Trump can use new money for border security. Administration officials insisted they already have statutory authority to start building the wall under an 2006 law. This prevents such an end run. So you got to remember this, okay? There's not going to be a wall. They have no money to build a wall right now. Even the money that was there beforehand, there is no money to build a wall. The EPA gets $80 million less than last year, but Jodey, do you know what the budget is for the EPA this year? It's $80 million less than last year. What do you think the EPA is?
No telling.
$8 billion.
$8 billion.
$8 billion.
Man.
Trump had sought to cut the EPA by a third. Instead, he whacks off $80 million from the top of the budget for EPA. $8 billion.
Yeah, that's really something, man.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for that. Let's see. Healthcare, it's not looking good. You know, there have been all these calls now that we're going to see a healthcare vote in this week, possibly Wednesday. They keep losing Republicans, though. Like over and over. I mean, you see more and more headlines now that this isn't going to happen. That this vote that looked promising maybe at the beginning of the week, it's not looking promising. And that right now it's one of those that it could happen, but even if the House passes a health care bill this week that replaces Obamacare, it's not going to be a full repeal. All of you who called in and said, Chad, we want a full repeal. Yeah, that's not what the President of the United States wants. The President wants everybody to be covered. He wants those with pre-existing conditions to be covered. And even if it passes this week, no one knows what's going to happen in the U.S. Senate. And it's virtually the same bill. There are a few tweaks to the bill from what we saw the last go around, but it's virtually the same bill. And it's going to now, if it passes the House, it's going to go into the Senate, and the Senate isn't too keen on it from everything that's been released. So even the Senate may say no to it. So right now is just not a good time for Republicans. It's just really not. Let's see, a text message that came in. Why doesn't Texas just build our own wall? Let me tell you something. There are a lot of Texas Republicans that don't want a wall across the border. And the President of the United States 3 days ago, there was a Dallas Morning News story that came out just a few days back. And it said the president said where there are large structures like mountains or big rivers, which would be a Rio Grande, there won't be a wall. Dallas Morning News story 3 days ago. Trump saying whether there are large structures, like mountains, where there's a large river, we don't need a wall. You're not going to get a big wall across the entire border. Let's go to the phones real quick. 770-5790, toll free, 1-800-687-0790. CJ, you're on KFYO.
Yes, Chad, I was blown away by those $8 billion for the EPA, and that's just one agency. Is there a place where we can see where is all this money being spent? $8 billion?
$8 billion. I don't know if there's a full breakdown. Maybe the House website has a breakdown of their budget, but I doubt it right now.
Well, that needs to be brought out to the public because I think if people find out where this money's being spent, maybe a third can be cut. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, $8 billion for the EPA.
Yeah. I could use a couple of dollars of that in tax cuts, you know.
There you go.
Well, I just wonder. I'm one mad Mexican here. I'll tell you what. I'm a Trump supporter, big time, and I just don't like that spending. I want. Would you like
to see Congressman Arrington vote against it?
I guess what?
Against the budget bill.
Yes. Vote against it until we get some cuts.
There we go. All right, CJ. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.